G'day Trade Centres, it's Stewart here, and about 12 months ago I made a video about propagating azaleas, and while I still think it's the information in that video is still very good, there is 4 things I'd like to adjust. No, 3 things I'd like to adjust, 1 I'd like to add to help improve the overall strike rate of propagating azaleas from cuttings. Now those 4 things are the type of pots I use, just made a few adjustments to the propagation medium, I've got the Clonex, this is from Yates, this is the Clonex, this is rooting hormone. When I did the last video I couldn't find it, so I didn't use it, but if you've got it, definitely use it. It will help improve the formation and the structure of the root system of your cutting. And fourthly, which is something I only read a little while ago, is you can wound, and I'll show you how. There's not much to it, the bottom of the cutting. And I'm going to do a pot of cuttings, all the same cuttings, all cuttings from the same plant, a pot of them wounded and a pot of them unwounded, just so as I can see if there's any great difference. Now, the other thing is the taking of the cuttings is the same, the timing of the year, which is now late summer, early autumn, best time of the year. You want that semi-hardwood or just hardened, freshly hardened softwood. So this summer's growth, which has just started to harden off, so it's still flexible, but if I bent it too far it would break. So it's just started to harden off. The clean and sharpen your secateurs always when you're doing propagation, and I'll take quite a lot of these leaves off. And I want about 3, I did say in the last video 6 to 8 inches, which is a bit, was it 6 to 8 or 4 to 6? Either way, about 3 to 4 is probably a better size cutting if you go too big. So I'm going to at least halve that, and I'm going to cut the top off of those as well, and that's your cutting. And just dip into the propagation mix, just wipe a little bit off. I haven't got a dibbler, so I'm going to have to use my finger, and that's your cutting. About half of the cutting goes into the propagation medium and the other half stays out. Now, wounding, you're going to need a good sharp knife. You will prepare your cutting the same as that one. And what we do, I need my glasses to see what I'm doing. About the bottom inch, half inch to inch. And all we're going to do is just take a sliver down one side. We're just cutting the cambium off. We don't want to cut right into the stem. We just want to take a sliver down the side. A few more leaves off the top here. Oop. And again, that might be a bit long. No, I'll stop. I'll go with it. Oh. Alright, I'll do that one more time. That cutting could be just a little bit long. This one's a bit better. Now, I took my cuttings, I had to go out to work, I don't have any azaleas here. Took my cuttings at work this morning. Always try and take your cuttings early in the morning if you can, especially on a cool morning. And as soon as you take your cutting, if you're not doing your cutting straight away, put them in a plastic bag. These are little sealable bags, so that's just going to help keep the moisture in and around your cuttings. Now, this one's a better size, and I just want to take, I'm hoping this camera here picks this up, at the bottom inch, 20 to 25 millimeters, and not deep, I'm just taking the sliver, just the edge, just to expose the cambium, or what they call a cambium. You can see different shades of green. There's a green just inside the bark on either side, and then there's the stem underneath it. Again, just dip it in your hormone, and there you go. Now, the other two things was the pots. So I've gone just with a plastic pot and the propagation medium, and I made a short little clip today on how I made this, and we'll go to that now, and then we'll come back. I just want to upgrade. I just want to improve the propagation mix a little, just to help with the drainage, but also help with the soil moisture retention within the propagation mix. Potting mix is still fine if that's all you got, but I've also added, this will be equal parts. So I've added 3 cups of potting mix, 3 cups of perlite. This is a fairly fine perlite and comes in all different grades, but just the fine one. And finally, I've got coarse washed river sand. And again, this is sort of similar to perlite. It will help with the drainage, but it was also improve soil moisture retention. Just blend it through. That's looking nice now. I like the coarse washed river sand. Try saying that fast 3 times. Coarse washed river sand. In the propagating medium or mix, if you like, just fills in the gaps between the perlite and the potting mix, which gives you a greater contact and holds more moisture up against the stem of the cutting once you put it in your pot. Right, now I want I've got about 10 cuttings, so I'm going to put 5 cuttings in each pot. These are 150mm pots, and I've changed from, I had the terracotta pots last year I used, which I would still use again, but I ran into some really hot weather last year, and the propagating medium dried out too quickly. I couldn't get to it quick enough, and I lost a lot of my cuttings from drying out. So this year, the weather at the moment is complete opposite. It's about 20 degrees here today, moist and overcast. But who knows, it can still turn quite hot. So just a little bit of a insurance against hot weather. So that's the propagating media and the pots. 2 other things we need to get to help improve the strike rate of our cuttings. So I'm trying to get them up from 50% as close as I can to 100%. But that's that. Let's move on. Right, 2 to go. The reason why you reduce the leaves like this is to slow down the rate of transpiration for the cutting, because you've taken the plant away from its root system, so it doesn't have any way of taking up moisture apart from what it can get out of the pot through its stem. So you need to reduce the amount of transpiration the cutting is doing, thereby giving you a further chance of success. Now, this one's a bit long, so I'm going to shorten him up a bit. Take these guys off the top, couple down the side, and I want to just take the sliver off, that little sliver off. When you're doing these, once you take that wounding off the side, you want to dip these and get them into your propagation media straight away, because that's even more stress for the little cutting. Now, the only thing left is where are we going to put these. And the best place is somewhere bright but out of the full sun. So I've just got a little crepe myrtle tree and another little rose here and a bench, and I'm just going to sit mine there. You can get those plastic storage containers if you like and sit them on the ground under a tree, put that over. Probably if you lived in a drier climate than what I do, you would need that, but here it was fairly humid and it's still for the rest of this month and next month, and by then they should have struck. Should take six-ish weeks to strike, and we'll come back then and have a look and see what sort of difference there is between, I will label these, difference between the ones that have wounded and the ones that aren't wounded. I hope that covers just a few more things that I didn't have in last year's video to help you maximize your success rate, your strike rate with your cuttings. And if you did find any of this interesting and helpful, it means a lot to me if you would consider subscribing to the channel and liking the video and help share the word around. And with some luck, we'll see each other. Kinda, you know, we don't really see each other, but we'll see each other in the next video. Cheers and thanks for watching.